Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today I'm actually going to be responding to a collaboration that Nooch Too Good, Rabid, Beaver, and Songeta did, so shout out guys. I'm going to be linking their discussion in the comments down below. I was supposed to be part of that, but unfortunately I could not make it work with my time, so I reached out to Nooch and was like, hey, do you mind if I kind of like feed off of this, respond to you guys? So go watch theirs, link down below, go subscribe to them. They're all great creators, have a lot of fun when I do get to talk with them, and shout out Nooch for really kind of banding together a lot of the content creators. He's got a big Discord chat room where we all can kind of chat. Really awesome stuff. So thank you, man, for setting that up. I really appreciate it. Let's dive in here. Let's thank the channel members, and we're going to talk about these Lightspeed bundles. So channel members, thank you guys for all of your continued support. If you're ever interested in joining, again, that link is in the video description along with a link to the Discord server. So make sure you guys go check that out. You know, I can just always say I kind of lose the words to describe how thankful I am for you. You guys have just continued to make this channel an amazing place, and I am very blessed to have subscribers and members like you. So thank you guys. Let's get into this video. Let's talk Lightspeed bundles. So again, that link to their video down below, go watch it. So let's start, I think, with the first question Nooch asked was, are these bundles good for the game? And I like that. I think both Rabid Beaver and Songeta kind of broke it out and said that the initial bundles for like Rey, Kylo, and even like Star Killer were much better for the game than the more recent bundles they felt. And I would mostly agree with that, but I'd actually say that the bundles for Rey and Kylo were more catered to people who had been playing the game for a longer period of time. That I think Kylo was kind of a stop farming this. Arnold's farming guide is go farm Kylo. We don't want you doing that. We want you working on new things, right? That's the whole purpose of the bundles. Rabid Beaver said it. I completely agree. All of these Lightspeed bundles are designed to get you to work on newer things. They don't want you to spend the first year farming Kylo. They want you to farm, you know, newer stuff than that. So, which we'll get into maybe what they need to do to solve that problem, because you're still spending a lot of time on him. But like, you think I was able to get Rey. Like, I bought the bundle. I bought one of those bundles, spent the rest of some gear that I had saved up, and started Rey that day. Like, I got so much benefit from that Rey bundle. And it allowed me to kind of catch up to players who otherwise had a much more significant advantage because I'd been spending my time farming Jabba and Leia and whatever else, right? So, like, I definitely think that the first group was a little bit better for the game than maybe this, you know, second group of bundles, right? At least I think the first group of bundles was a little bit more balanced. This second group of bundles, I just think, like, the Ewoks, the Geonosians, the Separatists, I'm okay with all that. But I think the Negotiator, selling this is definitely kind of crazy, because they're literally selling the fourth best fleet in the game. And for anybody who wants to come at me, just, oh, well, Empire with Scythe is better. If I give this thing the Marauder, it changes things, right? Like, you've got to give this all of its tools, and you give the Empire all of its tools, and I still think this is a better fleet. But where I want to head to next, right? So I think this second group of bundles, I think this, like, selling this, I think is good. Let me say this. This bundle is better if you're an early player, right? If you, like, just downloaded the game, you hit level 85, this bundle with Negotiator is the best thing you can buy because of fleet crystals. Fleet crystals are so important. Like, we've always talked about it. However, I think for the overall game, this bundle is worse, because if you don't purchase this and you don't get an opportunity because you're not level 85 to buy this bundle, you're going to be millions of miles behind everybody else in your shard who gets Negotiator, gets those crystals, gets to invest them to either get Executors, Profundities, Leviathans, whatever else, while you're still stuck getting nothing out of Fleet Arena. So I definitely can see how this bundle is, I think overall it's still a step in the right direction for the game, because they're trying to give players a catch-up mechanic to get them to work on newer things faster. Again, I'm going to say that a lot. So you know, maybe, I think Nooch had asked them for a rating at one point. I'd say the first bundles were probably like an 8 for me. I think they were very good for the game. Great choices on the characters, right? Not too powerful, but still good enough to help you progress. I'd say these more recent bundles, I'd give maybe a 6-2. I'd say they're not quite as healthy for the game, because I think if it didn't include Negotiator, if it gave you those Galactic Republic ships, but it didn't give you the Negotiator, I'd give it the same score. I'd give it an 8. But I think with the Negotiator, I do need to recognize that this is like very jarring, especially because think about what happens if like you went and, the players who built Malevolence first, and then they go buy this bundle. Now they've got 2 A-tier fleets. Whereas if you spend all your time with Negotiator, there's no Malevolence bundle to offset this. So, and maybe that's telling of something. Who knows? The next thing that I think I wanted to mention here that they talked about was maybe some better communication or like set rules around these bundles. So I did like that idea of the set rules to say, hey, any character like, so right now, for example, like I think Starkiller was the most recent bundle. I think that was what I had said, December 2021. So, hey, Afra is off the table because she's still too recent. Inquisitor's off the table, still too recent. But, Darth Revan, Jedi Knight Revan, Malak, they're on the table because they're older characters. We're gonna look at maybe doing a full Executor bundle because the Finalizer was already kind of there, but not Profundity because it's too recent. Or, hey, for S-tier capital ships, we're not going to directly release bundles for them because, they're a big source of income. Whatever, right? I think a set of rules would be okay. But I think overall their communication on the bundles has been pretty okay. Like, it's not like we get that much warning for anything else in this game. So, like, I'm perfectly okay with the amount of communication around them. Like, we get them data mined long before they even mention it. So, I'm pretty okay with that. Now, one thing they brought up was the cadence, right? The cadence of the Lightspeed bundles is very fast. And I would agree that the first set of bundles came, early October? Then we got Beskar Mando in, like, January. I think the Rebel bundle was right around that time as well. And then we got, these most recent ones coming in May. So you think in a span of, like, 6 months, we've gotten a lot of bundles given to us. I think they do need to pump the brakes because you're progressing players with a lot of stuff. You're giving players a lot of things and like you're giving them a lot of gear, but again, no Zetas and mods, which just like sidebar here. Songeta said something that was really funny. And he's like, I'm going to sound elitist, but like you could get all these bundles and you're still not catching me because I have all these Zetas and mods and Omicrons. And as elitist as that sounds, like, he's absolutely correct. I actually really love the way he said that. Like, it is so true. And I'm going to show you guys an example here. So this was my, I'm just looking to make sure what opponent this is. So this is my current opponent. I'm going up against somebody from Maw Vanguard. But if I bought every Lightspeed bundle that was available to me, I think I'd be closer to the 223 relics of his. I don't know how many I'd be short. But let's say I bought all the Lightspeed bundles and it gets me to even like 210 relic characters. My number of mods to his doesn't change. My number of Zetas doesn't change. My number of Omicrons doesn't change. Just the number of relics. So, yes, while I got all this gear, I didn't make progress anywhere else. And I've talked about that a lot with the mods and the Zetas and everything. But, like, I think Songeta really that was a really good thing he said, that it's not really helping you catch players simply because you got gear. That it takes more than just the gear to catch up to people. And I would honestly say that for even some of you, it's not even going to help you catch up as much because you won't understand how to use that team when you do get it. Like, just think about this. You get a Lightspeed bundle, you got Rey, you got Kylo. You've never used these characters before. Like, it's like giving you a NASCAR, right? You've got this super fast car, but that doesn't mean that you're ready to go race against Tony Stewart or Jeff Gordon or Dale. Rest in peace. Like, you're not ready to face those guys. Because, yes, you've got the tools, but you don't know how to use it, right? And, like, frankly, they've been doing this for how long? So, like, if I was to even get to this guy, I kind of almost compare it to if I switched accounts with, if I go back to the game here, but it'd be like kind of switching accounts with Arnold, right? That if Arnold and I were to play each other's Grand Arenas, Arnold would probably be more competitive with my account than I would be with his. Because while he doesn't have as much resources in my account to use, I wouldn't know how to use, half the things that he does in Grand Arena because I just don't have them available. I don't have Afra. I don't have Tuskens. I don't have this. I don't have that. So, I just think it's kind of like giving me, like NASCAR. Like, it's like putting you in a NASCAR, but it doesn't mean that you know how to drive it. So that's one thing with the Lightspeed bundles that I want you guys to remember is that it's still going to take you time to adjust into these characters, to learn the mechanics, to learn how to use that team properly. Because, gave you the stuff, but it didn't give you any of the knowledge. Now, another thing that they kind of brought up, like kind of going back to, I know I took a sidebar there, but kind of going back to like cadence and the releasing of them, because like they have re-released some bundles. I think if I was Capital Games, what I would do is I'd say, hey guys, so we're going to release these bundles in May, and we won't be releasing any new bundles for a year. However, in November, around the anniversary, we will be re-releasing all other Lightspeed bundles available for purchase. The only other thing I would do if I was them, because this I think is part of the problem with these bundles, is that if you're not level 85, you either have to buy the Hyperdrive bundle and then buy the bundles, or you just miss out entirely. What I think would be really cool is if they tied these bundles to the Hyperdrive bundle. If inside of this, what's included, there's a section that says, by purchasing the Hyperdrive bundle, you gain access to the Hyperdrive bundle store where you can purchase these at any time. I think that is one of the best things they could do, because it is very polarizing. Like, remember in my free-to-play account that I played on for a little bit, there was how many people in my Fleet Shard, in my Squad Arena Shard that had all those Lightspeed bundles. And so, like, I can't compete with them, right? And, like, there's no way. So, because I wasn't level 85 at the time that those bundles were released, I couldn't do anything. So I think if they said, hey, by spending this money on the Hyperdrive bundle, you're going to be able to purchase these Lightspeed bundles at any point in time. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until we release them in the game, right? Like that they re-release them. I think that would be fine. I think that would actually solve some of the problems we see with them where they are so polarizing that if you miss it, like think about it, if you're like on the fence of this negotiator bundle and then it runs out and you didn't buy it, and then like a month later you're like, oh, I want to do it, it's not there in the store to be purchased. So I definitely think they need to do something of making them available to people through some means. And I think the Hyperdrive bundle would be the solution for me, generate some extra revenue. Now, the other thing that we talk about, obviously Zetas and mods, they don't sell those. And I honestly think that's part of the way that they kind of keep these, Zetas and stuff. Like, I think that's how they keep it in check, right? That if they sold you the Zetas on these things, could you imagine how broken this would be, right? Like, you're literally progressing an account, years and years and years ahead, and Zetas are something that they don't allow you to whale on. So I feel like that's kind of their one way of ensuring that if you are a free-to-play that's worked your way into the game, you've spent 2 years playing, and somebody has spent a year playing and decides to buy all these bundles, and now they've got as much GP as you, during that time you've accumulated all these Zetas that they don't have, and you're going to be able to still probably beat them because of the time investment you've made. So I think that's the one thing they've done to kind of balance them out, is keep out Zetas, and obviously mods from it as well. The mods are a big part of all these bundles. Now, Songeta said something that I kind of want to disagree with, because he was like, oh, why are they giving out relic levels? Like, you don't need relic levels to get C3PO. You don't need relic geos and like, I can understand what he's saying, but just to kind of play devil's advocate here, I think the reason they're giving these at relics is because it's sort of a byproduct of their own bottlenecks. When you think about the bottlenecks in this game right now, it's core gear, it's Kairatech, and it's Zetas, right? Things that all characters need. And I kind of compare the way that SWGOH handles gear to Marvel Strike Force. So Marvel Strike Force obviously has its own issues, but one thing I always loved was that they kind of had, depending on the way that superhero gained their power, they require different gear. So like Captain America would be a mutant character, Iron Man is a tech character, and Thor would be mythic. And so they would each kind of require different gear pieces because they're a mythic, a mutant, and a tech character, where they get their power from. But in Star Wars, it's all the same, right? Like this, just go to my Tusken Chieftain here. I need Kyrotech for all of these different characters, right? Like I need Kyrotech for all these ones, like, droids, rebels, Jedi, zombies, Gungans, stun guns I need for all of these kind of characters, Carbonis we need for all of this stuff. That the reason they're giving them the relics, in my opinion, is because they've made these bottlenecks the same for every single character. That if I'm trying to gear up my Night Sisters, my Separatists, and my if I'm trying to gear up a droid team, a Night Sister team, and a Jedi team, they all take the exact same gear pieces, more or less. Whereas if they require different stuff, you maybe wouldn't need to give them out as high because we'd have more of that stuff available. But because everybody needs the same gear pieces all the time, it's like you think my droids are gear 12 by choice, or no, because I don't want to invest this Kyrotech into them when I need it for all these other guys. So that's why I think the Lightspeed bundles are giving you them at relics, is because they know that Kyrotechs are the biggest problem in this game for 90% of the player base. So I did want to mention that. I am a big fan of them giving you the relics, because I do think if they didn't give you them at relics, they would lose a lot of the value. What is the point of these bundles? As I said, and I think Rabid Beaver said as well, you need to be working on the new things. That they're not selling you the Separatists just because they want you to use these characters. Like, they need Trench. They're not selling you all these Separatist droids because they make a great team. They want you to work on General Grievous and the Stap. They're not just giving you these Night Sisters. They're wanting you to go get Marin. They're not giving you the Ewoks just because. They want you to go get Nisa. All of these bundles are so that you can work on the new things, and I think Rabid Beaver hit that on the head. I very much agree with that thought process. Now, in terms of, how would I say this? In terms of, overall, how the Lightspeed bundles are going to impact the game. So I think the first set, we still are feeling the drain on our resources, but I think this second one is going to be very polarizing. That the Negotiator being sold is going to be, I think, incredibly damaging to Fleet Arena. And hot take here, but I think it could eventually lead to Crystals moving away from Fleet Arena. That them selling a ship like that completely changes what Fleet Arena is. That they've never really, they've never done something like that before, right? This is the most drastic measure that I've ever seen in the game, from a perspective of giving you an advantage over somebody. I think when they sold the Houndstooth and the Finalizer bundles, it was already crazy enough, but giving you the Negotiator fleet, a fleet that is still used every single time in Kyber 1, is absolutely absurd. So I think this could lead to potentially Fleet Crystals getting moved to somewhere else, because they recognize that the impact this has on the game is so damaging. So overall, I do really think the Lightspeed bundles are good, but there is some negatives that are kind of starting to creep in a little bit with the cadence, the vagueness of what they are and aren't willing to sell. And in a way too, I think it's painfully obvious that these bundles are designed that they're not just giving you these characters for the fun of it. They want you to work on this new stuff that I think, I'd kind of say these Lightspeed bundles, buying them or not buying them is kind of like the decision to, go to college or, go to a trade school or something. That you don't go to college and then decide that you want to go join the military most times, right? You got this degree, you want to go use it. You're not going to go to school and then, I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just trying to be honest. My school had this major called Adventure Ed, and it was literally people who wanted to be a camp counselor, which is a great thing, but you don't need a college degree for that, right? That's not a good use of your resources. So it's kind of don't go buy these Lightspeed bundles and then decide that you're gonna don't go like buy the General Skywalker bundle and then decide that you're gonna start the Bo-Katan farm from scratch per se, right? Like, let's, use that and kind of work from that. And we talked about how to maybe take advantage of the General Skywalker bundle because it is a bit different and there's all these other aspects. But like, you get the point that you want to use these bundles to actually like make your account better. And I think that, going, kind of comparing it to like that college experience that like you go to school, you paid some money, and then the idea is you're going to put in the work to pay it off and, give yourself a better life because of it. But if you piss away your college degree, you mess around the whole time, you ended up hurting yourself, right? I don't know, maybe that translation was lost on everybody, but hopefully it makes sense. So, end of the day, guys, I think these bundles are good. I definitely think there's some things CG could do better between. I think the set rules was a good idea, but I think more than that, I think they need to tie them to the hyperdrive bundle. So that way, when you do hit level 85 or you buy that bundle, you do have access to these at any point in time. Because I think that's where I feel the worst for is they need to start thinking about what happens if I download the game the day after these bundles came out. And now I'm looking at all these people like, how am I supposed to catch up? And they're like, oh, wait 6 months. And it's like, what? Like, I can't, like, what if somebody wants to buy that bundle the day after it's gone? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you really going to throw away, turn away free money? So let me know your guys' thoughts. Again, Nooch, Rabid, Songeta, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. I wish I could have been there live, but hey, it is what it is. I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next video. And by the way, forgot to do my introduction for Moonborn, so we're going to do it at the end here, so outro. Cheers, my friends.